Dear students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. DC Saxena, Professor and Head of the Department of Food Engineering and Technology at Sant Longowal Institute of Engineering and Technology, Longowal. I am here to present the paper Technology of Meat, Poultry, Fish and Seafood Products. In the present module, I will explain the ante-mortem handling and inspection of meat animals. As you know, the inspection of meat animals is an important aspect with respect to the quality of meat. This particular aspect will be explained to you by my co-author, Mr. Mandeep Singh.
Students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Mandeep Singh from Sant Longowal Institute of Engineering and Technology. Today I am going to talk about module number 4, which is of paper number 8, that is Technology of Meat, Poultry, Fish and Seafood. Now this chapter deals with the ante-mortem handling of the meat as well as inspection requirement and procedures for ante-mortem observations. The term ante-mortem means before death. It refers to the condition and stresses involved before slaughtering. The purpose of ante-mortem inspection is to check the quality for slaughter only those animals that are healthy, safe from harmful chemicals and drug residues, and capable of being converted into wholesome product for the consumer, that is meat. This chapter deals with the variety of ante-mortem inspection techniques and the procedures. Prior to slaughtering, inspection is required to meet the end product needs and as well quality attributes. The health and breed of animal is quite important if reared for meat and meat products. The ante-mortem inspections are like any sign of disease, any conditions that may result in the rejection of a carcass or its a part as a source of human food, presence of any disability. The treatment of the animals to drugs, chemicals, biological substances and the extent of the spoilage. Ante-mortem inspection purposes. Ante-mortem inspection aims to screen out suspect, diseased or injured animals for isolation and slaughtering. This prevents contamination of premises, equipment, carcasses and personnel and facilitate appropriate control, disinfection and preventive measures to be taken to avoid the spread of disease. Abnormal signs and condition of the suspected food animals noted in ante-mortem inspection will be used to support the extensive post-mortem inspection and condemnation judgment. It ensures that only safe and wholesome meat will be provided to the market. Therefore, the contents of this module are divided into following sections. First of all, we will cover the general aspects of performing ante-mortem inspection methodology in the introductory part. After that, ante-mortem inspection methodology is distributed and explained under following sections, that is observation at rest, observation in motion and safety measure during the inspection. However, ante-mortem dispositions are also of equal importance and therefore can be explained in following subsection. First of all, passed for slaughtering. Second is suspect animal. Third is condemned. Whereas the ante-mortem inspection format explains the following: slaughter at establishment, condemned or suspect tag, sex tags, temperature, weight, and remarks section under the ante-mortem inspection format. The ante-mortem inspection unit is also responsible for monitoring animal welfare. It enforces the Prevention of Cruelty to Animal Ordinance to ensure that the live food animals are properly looked after and inhumane handling is prevented in the slaughterhouses. Now, we will go through the formal introduction of ante-mortem. As per the term, ante-mortem is before or prior the slaughtering of animal. The term ante-mortem means before death. It refers to the condition and the stresses involved before slaughtering. During ante-mortem inspection, animal is in live condition and performs normal routine of day before they are slaughtered. The observations are necessary for the product quality. Need for ante-mortem inspection plays a key role in the quality control and hazard controls in a meat processing industry, as the raw material determines the quality of final product. Thus, it is essential that a raw material should be properly observed for its qualities. In this case, animal is a raw material for its meat and derived products. Thus, the purpose of ante-mortem inspection is to check the quality for slaughter, and only those animals that are healthy, safe from harmful chemicals and drug residues are capable of being converted into wholesome product for the consumer. Animals that exhibit abnormal signs must be withdrawn from the normal slaughtering process and separated for closer examination. Ante-mortem inspections are based on some of the following assumptions: presence and extent of any signs of disease. Diseased animal give a poor quality of meat. Meat from infected animal may cause infection in a consumer as well. Selling of infected meat is also offense under various food laws system. The presence and extent of any conditions that may result in the rejection of carcass or its parts as a source of human food. The presence of excitement cause secretion of certain hormones that cause suppression of immune system of animal body and cause disease, which in turn is responsible for the poor quality of meat. Any disturbed activity or the presence of any disability in an animal should be reported. The treatment or exposure of animal to drugs, chemicals, biological substance or radioactive materials during feeding or in their normal environment and the extent of spoilage are the other bases on which the organism should be observed for slaughtering. Quality of meat, infection, and disease spread are the main reasons for the observance of meat animal prior to their slaughtering. In addition to the changes, both creatine phosphate and adenosine triphosphate are hydrolyzed as rigor began to develop. Creatine phosphate form creatines and phosphate. One of the muscle enzyme, phosphatase, is able to hydrolyze adenosine triphosphate to inorganic phosphate and adenosine diphosphate and becomes more active as pH drops to 6.5. Adenosine triphosphate is then further decomposed to ribose, phosphate, ammonia, and hypoxanthine. Contraction is thus no longer possible in a muscle and the tension develops, which is capable of relaxation under rigor passes. Therefore, the quality of a meat is detrimental if there is any change in the pH of body or its parts or the muscles. Ante-mortem inspection of a livestock should be taken and recorded during observation. Each and every point related to the quality of a meat should be taken into consideration. The records should be a part of the procedure used to identify animals as having received ante-mortem inspection. For record keeping and observance, the following supplies are required for inspection. Ante-mortem inspection format, that is, for the records of ante-mortem inspection findings. The ante-mortem inspection formats varies according to the type of animals and reportings. Generally, external medical examinations were reported in the ante-mortem inspection format. Thermometer. It is required for observing the body temperature of organism. Any change in the temperature of a body should be reported in the ante-mortem inspection format as well. There are other supplies like pen, pencils, pads of paper and a clipboard to writing and taking any other notes. Suscept or condemned tags are a different kind of tags required for marking the organism with disease and which are not useful for meat quality. These kind of organisms spoil the meat quality and thus are demarked for their disease and were tagged mentioning the reason for their exemption. Tagging pilers. These are used to attach the suscept and condemned tag to the animal's ear. Rejection or retention tags that should be attached to areas of livestock pens to show that they are rejected because they did not meet the requirements and therefore did not pass inspection. Sometimes the whole area is separated from the other by a fence or by some other means. They were sometimes transported back to the area or were disposed of. Now move on the ante-mortem inspection methodology. Ante-mortem inspection should take place within 24 hours of the arrival of animals at the slaughterhouse and less than 24 hours before they are slaughtered. If ante-mortem inspection has occurred and there is a delay of more than 24 hours before slaughter due to some reasons, ante-mortem inspection should be repeated. Such ante-mortem inspection shall be made in pens on the premises of the establishment at which the livestock are offered for slaughter. Ante-mortem inspection should support post-mortem inspection by application of specific range of procedures and or tests that consider the behavior, demeanor and appearance as well as sign of disease in the live animal. The other methodologies include following instructions to be followed carefully by examiner. First of all, do not have dirty hide, skin or flea, conditions which cause the risk of cross-contamination from a soil or other portions to the meat. The risk should be properly identified and mentioned. One must know the complete knowledge of degree of risk that has determined or affected animal. If there is a severe risk, tag the animal with the proper tagging procedure. Veterinary inspector should himself of a good and a sound condition so that the proper judgment can be made. Sometimes there is a chance of a cross contamination. Thus, a proper care should be taken during the course of examination, and one must consider that cross contamination as well as from the veterinary inspector should not follow the meat animal. Ante-mortem inspection consists of two parts, that is, observation of animals at rest and observation of animals during their motion. First of all, we will discuss about the observation of animals at rest. During rest, the abnormal behaviors like laziness, abnormal sighting, breathing, etc. can be observed. Following instruction has to be followed, that is, when performing at rest inspection, the veterinary inspector must position her or himself at a various location outside the pen. The veterinary inspector must observe all the animals and note their general behavior while they are at rest. He or she should determine if any of the animals show abnormal behavior pattern such as excessive excitability or severe depression. He or she should look at the heads, necks, sides, rumps, and legs of as many animals as possible, and they should make a note of any abnormalities. Observation of animals in motion. Whilst other abnormalities such as lameness, walking may not be detected until the veterinary inspector observes the animals in motion. Loose stamina and exhaust breathing can be observed during animal in motion. For the observation in a motion, following instruction has to be followed. When performing in motion inspection of animals, veterinary inspector should position her or himself outside the pen next to the open gate so that they can easily view the animals as they are driven by him or her. He/she should direct the establishment employee to move all animals slowly and individually out of the pen and then back and forth while they observe each animal for abnormalities by viewing the head, neck, shoulder, flank, legs, and rumps. If the pen size permit, they should position himself inside the pen and direct the establishment employee to move the animal past them, both ways in the pen. For complete observance of animal, it is mandatory to observe the organism from all angles and views. Undisturbed and normal conditions are required for the complete examination on the aggressive and frightened animals, as they obviously exhibit the abnormal behavior. There are some important safety measures that should have to be taken care while ante-mortem inspection. First, the veterinary inspector should never go into a pen of large livestock. This is especially true of a pen with a bull. The veterinary inspector should not make the mistake of performing in motion inspection immediately behind a loose or swinging gate, as the animals are driven out of the pen, they could push against the swinging gate and force it against them. The veterinary inspector should not position themselves in a corner or in a place near to the corners. The veterinary inspector should not position themselves in a corner that allows no space to safety, or the animal should turn aggressive. The veterinary inspector should not climb on a high, unstable fences to view the animals during the ante-mortem inspection. When conducting ante-mortem inspection, the veterinary inspector should be safely helmet. Now the ante-mortem dispositions. There are three possible outcomes or dispositions that follow ante-mortem inspection. First is that the animal is passed for slaughter. This means that the animal is ready and in a good condition for further processing into meat. This kind of animals are sound and are in a good condition for further processing. They produce ambient quality of meat. The second condition or disposition is the suscept animals. This means the animal is suscepted and is vulnerable to some kind of disease. The possible reason for this condition of animals is due to the poor transporting facility or some hereditary mean of disease due to the history of animal. The last disposition is the condemned, that is, they are the infected animals in which the degree of risk is higher than the limit. This means infected animal and is not good for processing. These kind of animals produce poor quality of meat and are therefore condemned or killed. Now we will discuss the ante-mortem disposition if the animal is passed for slaughter. The veterinary inspector should allow the animals that he or she has concluded to be free of disease and conditions described in the guidelines and therefore fit for the human food to be released for slaughter. Secondly, he or she should certify to the establishment by signing and dating the time of ante-mortem inspection on the ante-mortem inspection format. After inspecting animals, he/she should sign the format and write the time the animal received for inspection. Signing the format indicates that animals have received the ante-mortem inspection and are in a good health and therefore ready for slaughtering. After that, animal is ready for processing. These records should be kept for a further use, like should be present on the time of audit and other legal processes. In the ante-mortem disposition where an animal is held suscept, the following points should be taken into consideration during the inspection of suspects. The identity of animal must be maintained throughout the treatment period. The animal must be placed in a separate pen and the ante-mortem inspection format must be changed. The veterinary inspector should cross out the word slaughter and write in the phrase held for treatment in an appropriate place provided in the format. Following the treatment, the veterinarian of the abattoir should follow up the animal and direct the veterinary inspector as to what action to take. Proper monitoring and care should be taken for susceptible animals. Sometimes a short-term abnormality is shown by the animal due to the changed environment after transportation. Now the word condemned here describes the condition of being eliminating the unhealthy animal. Elimination sometimes causes killing of animal or keeping the affected animal at enough distance from the others to avoid any kind of a contamination from the affected meat animal. An animal that is condemned during the ante-mortem inspection is not eligible for slaughter because it has been identified as having disease or condition specified in these guidelines that make it unfit for the consumption of food by humans. For example, dead, dying, disabled, or diseased livestock should be condemned or kept separated from the other animals. It is the responsibility of the veterinary officer to identify the animal so that it is neither slaughtered nor used for the human food. That this is accomplished by placing a condemned tag in the animal's ear. The ante-mortem inspection format must also be completed. There should be a condemned tag to be placed in the animal's ear and should be written in the space provided on the form on the tag. Tagging is also the important part of inspection as it highlights the health condition of animal. Therefore, any livestock that is condemned must have a condemned tag placed in its ear, and the veterinary inspector should ensure that the establishment disposes the condemned animal appropriately. Since the abattoir cannot slaughter a condemned animal nor use it for a human food for the consumption, the abattoir should promptly kill the animal and immediately dispose of the affected carcass to avoid further contamination of other meat animal. If once it spread from one animal to another animal, this will affect the whole group of animals. After the elimination of animal from group, one must ensure that the other animals must be not affected and are in a healthy and a sound conditions and do not show any symptoms of infection. The abattoir should have its own disposal equipments and facilities. When a carcass is disposed of in this way, it is termed on-premises rendering. Tagging is an important process for the ante-mortem inspection. Therefore, proper steps for the livestock tagging are: properly secure the animal to apply tag. Movement of the animal's head could create an undesirable situation to appropriately apply the ear tag. This could cause injury to the person or the livestock or improper tagging of the animal. The following immobilization suggestions work best depending on the species. For example, cattle. A chute with a head gate, halter, or a noselet can be used during tagging. For a swine, confined in a small pen. Hog, boards to restrict movement or use of a hog snare to completely secure the hog. For sheep and goats, proper hand grip of animal's head to restrict the movement for proper tagging. Identify the tagging site on an animal's ear. Tag should be applied in the middle third of the ear between the upper and lower ribs. It is important when using electronic identification tags to apply the tag with the visual panel. For the male portion of the tag on the outside back of the ear, and for the female portion of the tag on the inside of the ear. Proper hygiene and cleanliness during the tagging process is necessary to reduce the risk of infection. Position the applicator in the identified tagging site on animal's ear as shown in a figure. Firmly close the applicator in a first manner and release. Examine the tag to verify that if it is correctly tagged and comfortably and securely positioned as well. Record the necessary data on the animal tags. Now we see what the ante-mortem inspection format contains. The ante-mortem inspection format contains the following section. First is the slaughter at establishment. This indicates the official establishment name and a number where the animal is to be slaughtered. This format is more useful and widely used where two or more type of organisms has to be slaughtered for the production of different type of meat. Area specification and a type of slaughtering methods has to be justified before proceeding to the slaughterhouse. Stunning, slaughtering and evisceration processes varies among the type of meat animals involved. Condemned or suscept tags. When the veterinary inspector applies the suscept tag, they should enter the number of tag here and cross out the word condemned. The tagging process is necessary to differentiate and label the different groups of animal. Sex section. This section describes the gender of a meat animal. The veterinary inspector should use the term like bull, short, camel, etc. Tags. The veterinary inspector indicates the condition for which the animal is tagged. For example, actinobacillosis, epithelioma, donor, pneumonia, broken leg, etc. If they feel that it is necessary to add more information, then they should use a phrase like see back of form and then write the information on the back of the form. The temperature section. The veterinary inspector should indicate the temperature in degrees Celsius. They should take the temperature of all donors and all animals exhibiting sign of abnormality. Variation in a temperature also cause hormonal changes and may affect the meat quality. Weight section. It estimates the animal weight in kilograms. Average weight is also the measure of quality and quantity of a meat animal. In the last, there is a remarks section. The veterinary inspector should complete the remarks section after deciding the ante-mortem disposition and then sign and date the format. The remark should be mentioned with permission for animal to pass for slaughtering or not. So students, let us now summarize what we have learnt in this module. Therefore, ante-mortem inspections are thus required to provide the consumer with a healthy and a quality meat product. Animal and a breeder must follow those quality parameters and must require the set of protocols for a close observation of meat animals. Any defect should be reported, well documented, and follow-ups should be taken if required. If necessary, the animal must be excluded and should be isolated from the other meat animals. Health of a meat animal not only affects the final quality but also causes adverse effects over the health of a population which are consuming these meat products. Swine flu and a bird flu are the common and the recent outbreaks during the present era. However, tapeworms and viruses outbreaks were the most commonly encountered during the last decades. These kind of situations can be eliminated by following the ante-mortem inspection protocols. Slaughterhouse and transportation units must fulfill the criteria of hygiene and maintenance. Other parameters like sex, age, genetics, etc. should also be taken care of during the processing of meat animals and meat products. Thank you.
So after knowing the ante-mortem handling and inspection process of meat animals, it is necessary to know the methods of stunning meat animals, and this aspect will be explained to you in the next module. Thank you.